My name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for the Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. I'm also the Executive Director for the Dolphins Dream Project. Okay, and I'm here today with three of my students, Keegan, Calviana, and Felix. And we're here doing an interview with a gentleman regarding the Cross-Cultural Healing and Unity Project. And sir, what is your name?
My name is Eze Sedano.
Okay, Mr. Sedano. And what do you do for a living?
I am a high school teacher, and I also work in the hospitality industry for the past 10 years,
Okay.
12 years.
How long have you been in education?
I've been an educator for the past 5 years as a certified teacher for the Palm Beach School District.
Okay.
I also am a second-year doctoral student in the Department of Education at St. Thomas University.
Okay. What led you to get into the field of education?
Well, I think that one of the reasons why I joined education was because I saw myself as an opportunity to be able to touch and impact adolescents' life, particularly not precisely in arithmetic and the sciences, but the overall person, which means training the person pretty much to be able to function socially.
You said high school, but you also work with another population of students too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
That's what grades?
Those are middle school students. They're typically 8th grade, but they're hopping behind.
So just to wrap this up for a moment, what is the impact that you hope to have being an educator?
The impact that I'm hoping to have in being an educator in my adolescence is that I hope to turn them to be able to turn them around so that they can see that they in fact are lifelong learners and that they should be able to take that wherever they go, that regardless of what they study, what they do, or what they want to pursue, the thinking is the same in that, consistency, persevering, application, seeking, and inquiry, elements of critical thinking should be able to direct them in whatever pursuit they want to follow in their life. I do. I am the 8.5 department team leader. I also participate in ESP consultation meetings for our schools that are either labeled ESC or 504. I am the ESP leader. What that means is that volunteer mentor. What that means is that if a new teacher comes in, they're not certified within the district, I assist them in transitioning to a program that they're required to complete for the district in order so that they can get their certificate. I also facilitate resources in terms of like material, how to study, what to study, what are some good strategies in terms of getting tutor in weak areas and that kind of thing. So another area that I implemented last year was we are a welcoming school. What that means is that we accept kids regardless of their immigration status. We don't have for immigrations or anything to that effect. And in the effect that we are contacted by one of the ICE officers, we have an office directly at the district that we can contact.
What is your outlook as far as crime issues?
I think that it's a two-edged problem. I think it's a problem that's taken two directions. Why? The first problem that I see is that I cannot blame the state, for example, for a lack of resources or anything like that. But I believe that there should be more intervention on the part of the state, at least the county or the state, whatever the case might be, with regards to ensuring that kids have enough resources to be able to attend a school. We provide them for lunch, we provide them for breakfast. But I think there is a little bit more than that, than just statistics and number. There's the element of human, which encompasses so many different things, such as being able to use contextual cues, be able to make decisions in the precise moment. On top of that, some of our kids are at risk. So they need a lot of support from people who are more experienced or who are prepared background to work with those kids. That's one part. The second part, I see it as a peer problem in that for some reason we might not know precisely what the origin of the problem is, but kids tend to use a lot of their deficiencies in one another to target another kid. Let me just give you a hypothetical example. One that we always know, kids might not have the right shoes or the right attire, or they might not be socially engaging. We have to understand that not everybody's meant to be socially. We have, for example, the different, the existing different cognitive disposition that people like to use. That's YAPG or GPAT. Those existing concepts. We also know that, for example, that June said that the mind is like an iceberg, where only a tip of the mind we are really aware of. And then we also have people that are internally driven or people that are externally driven, and to close it, we have nature versus nurture. So I think there is a lot of elements that we need to consider when we're working with kids. To this day, my interpretation of have we found a defined prototype, protocol, or profile that we can assign each person so that we can kind of sort them into classes that are better suited for them. We have tools, but I don't think we're there yet, especially now with so many things being so complex and so much information being available. Kids are becoming a lot more prone to other things. Born in the Dominican Republic, but I came when I was 11 years old and lived in New York until my mid-20s, until mid-20s, and in the projects. Now we know that the projects are predominantly full of people who are socioeconomically lower, or who are typically Afro-Americans or Latinos. So during that age, I went to high school, I went to middle school, and some of the things that I used to see a lot was black on black crimes. People would get together, teenagers would get together, and they will attack others for, reasons, like I was saying earlier, petty reasons. You might not have the right shoes. I was a target of because I could be interpreted as a black person, and I was a target just for walking in the wrong neighborhood. What are you doing here? What's that? Don't come around here, stuff like that. It's petty stuff, stuff that are irrelevant, and can lead to major problems. So I think gang is one of the attributes, and I think that the proliferation now of drugs, especially on social media, being so accessible to everybody, I think that's also a contributing part of the problem, in that kids think that they have the freedom to do more than what they really are capable of.
There's three components. There's you, there's the parent, and there's the child. So utilizing those three components, how do we get to solutions to deter individuals from entering into the criminal justice system?
Well, regardless of what society says, so regardless of what the education system says, and regardless of what parents says, unfortunately, whether you want to take it or not, education, support, and orientation starts at home. I think that parents play one of the biggest roles in an adolescent's life, especially when they're young. So I think that we need two things. I think we need to start a dialogue, a conversation, and parents' role and engagement with their kids when it comes to academics, and making sure that at least they go through that gap, 14, 15, 16, adolescents, where it's one of the most critical moments, because they're just now entering school, so they're exposed to sex, drugs, crimes, friends that are probably not accessible. So I think the parents need to be part of the big conversation, in that they need to bring in more support to the students, in being there for them and directing them in the correct path that is necessary. As part of the students, I think that the governor did an interesting job recently, in that he started distributing funds to career areas that are not specifically designed for academics, but are more specialized in different areas. I think that's huge, because a lot of our kids, they're not necessarily interested in attending college, and there are some of these kids just want to make a living, some of these kids just want to have life, and I think that that providing them with more opportunities, more resources, and more options as to how they want to channel their education should be better. And on the educator, I think that we need to be a little bit more inclusive, connect more students, be more, and give a student a little bit more freedom, so that they are able to learn about themselves, socialize more, and hopefully find connections within society, the school, that allows them to become successful in their path.
Last question. That exists today, that's been brought forward in several different ways. There's racial discrepancy in the country going on many multi-ethnic levels.
Yeah.
Couple of sentences on how to address that concern of racism in the United States of America today.
I think that the person who holds the baton on that role, even if we don't want to admit, is the federal government. The federal government, I think, should be the first one to install either some measures that allow for discrimination to be reduced, and that means that the government and society and institutions need to abide by these policies, because the message needs to come from the same places. I understand that this is a market society in which ideas allow the flourish of new ideas and inventions in where we are today. However, the reality is that without the support of the government, without the support of the institutions that receive assistance from government or that are allies of the government, without the effort in bringing the topic to the front and addressing it immediately, whatever way possible, there is no other way that the discrepancy between racial groups is going to stop anytime soon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.